Good afternoon and welcome back to this red white tent. I'm currently at the start of the 24 hours Sittard again. Throughout the year I know for myself that I will do at some point an impulsive marathon or an ultra, and I was really aiming for a backyard ultra as my second ultra in July, but it didn't feel right. As someone who wants to get faster, I kind of wanted to get the ultra or the marathon out of the way. And now that the 24 hour Sittard has moved from March to May, I really wanted to try it again. The course is also shorter, there are so many more teams, it's so much more busier. Mentally, I'm ready to hit the 100 miles mark, but I have no idea if I can physically do it. Have I learned anything from the last time? Probably not. Physically, I'm a bit more worried because the second I kind of got this idea to do this race again, my legs just started feeling heavy. I haven't done much mileage in the last few weeks. This week, I pretty much had all the time to bank on sleep, prepare my meals, prepare for this race, but I just couldn't sleep properly. And the third thing is, a few days ago I hit my ankle at work, so my heel actually hurts a lot and there's a lot of friction with my shoes that I'm wearing. I put on a blister band-aid in the hopes that it works. It does help a lot with pain relief, but I have no idea how it will react throughout the 24 hours. So mentally I'm actually feeling great, maybe until kind of this week. Compared to the last time, I did do a lot more mileage, like average and lifetime wise, because since then, since 3 years ago, I've done 5 more marathons. I did the Sittard 2026 only. I was about to hit 750 kilometers, so there's a little more mileage in my legs. So goals wise, this time I am gonna aim for the 100 miles, but because of the state of being, I'm okay if I don't reach that goal, but then I do at least hope to reach some of my sub goals. So my main priority is gonna be improving on last time's splits. Last time I did the 50k in 6 hours and 51 minutes. At my 100k it should be so easy to break that. Last time I did 18 hours and 26 minutes because I took 2 naps. I was so tired, so that should be an easy fix. And analyzing my previous time doing this, apparently I was idle for 4 hours. So 4 hours of 20 hours I wasn't moving at all, and I really want to reduce that as much as possible. So those are the 3 goals that I really want to reach, and as long as I do that, I'm fine if I don't get to the 100 miles. But obviously reaching those 3 gives me a better chance to reaching 100 miles. So over here you can see me making small packages of snacks that I could take onto the course every hour. So these were mainly sweets, but then I would also have a bag with croissants and other salty snacks depending on my mood. The combo of this little bag wasn't fantastic, but it's more convenient than last time, where I left the majority of stuff in its original packaging. I also got myself a little camping chair, as you can see. It's slightly too big to take onto fast packing trips, which kills me, but it's very portable for these kinds of situations. It would just fit in the suitcase. So a quick note about my shoes. I mostly wore the New Balance 1080 V14. I got a pair last fall and I love them so much. It made me love running all over again and I had such a good time on them. Obviously that means I've wore them out. So I got another pair secondhand in a different color. And while I did run a half marathon PR in them, they just didn't feel the same. And when the shoes don't feel the same, my confidence in my feet and my shoes just decreases dramatically. So I literally got myself this specific pair, specifically in the same ugly white-brown color as the first time. I got them delivered a day before the race. I understand why sports superstition is a thing.
En dat was het avondje startschot. Dat betekent dus dat we begonnen aan zijn aan de 24 uur schot en ook aan de 3 uur schot. Heel veel succes. Once again, good luck towards all of you.
So the last time I started out with 4 minutes run and 1 minute walk intervals. So this time I decided to go even lower and go for a 3 minute run and 1 minute interval. So just keeping it as easy as possible, but that was easier said than done because I could tell I really wanted to speed up while running. Like I said, the last few weeks I was struggling with heavy legs. So now that I've been pretty much injury free, kinda, I just really wanted to go out for a proper run. And while all the 24 hours racers have quite a consistent pace, I did feel a little rushed or just kind of wanting to go with the flow by the many more relay teams who are able to go way faster, and the 3 hour racers who especially picked up some speed in their third and final hour. So already in the third hour I was kind of pushing myself a little bit too much. So I love the live tracking at this event. I really like using my position as like an extra motivator to keep going. But at the same time, that's another factor that probably also pushed me too hard. But you know, I just really enjoy this event, and I will also just embrace the facilities that they offer. So I ended up actually finishing the first lap as the 101st runner out of 116. So I was pretty back of the pack, but you know, there's plenty of time to climb. Over the course of the 4 hours, I climbed 20 spots, so it's really worth just taking it easy and not stress yourself too much. It was so incredibly warm this afternoon, so I'm very happy I brought a hat, and there was a water tap right in front of the finish, so I made plenty of use of that. The amount of sweat and burnt skin I also saw around me was also an indication that fellow runners were quite struggling with the heat as well. I personally was a little bothered about the food hygiene for myself, but also for other runners. My tent had become kind of a greenhouse, so it was incredibly hot. And I brought like fresh pasta with me. I also had to stop for a second because ants had found my snacks. So they were all over in my bag. And just seeing everyone's water bottles in the bright sun made me kind of also realize why March wasn't that bad as I remembered. I managed the heat pretty well, if I say so myself. It took a lot of more effort than I would have liked. It made the first quarter feel like just like such big uphill. I told myself to be a little more social this time as well because I realized I hadn't talked to anyone the last time, except for maybe one volunteer. Having a video made about this event before was a great icebreaker for people to approach me, so it was nice to just chat with some people throughout the day. I didn't blame anyone for not watching the video because I still think it's a very boring video, but it made it onto their website. So, you know, sure. I found it quite hard to socialize as a run walker because other run walkers, they all had different intervals and paces, and obviously everyone is settling into the format for quite a few hours. It became much easier at the end of the event because more runners were walking, and it was nice to reflect on the experience then. I always feel grateful for strangers cheering me on at events. So I was especially thankful when in 2 spots on this tiny course, there would be 2 specific crew just motivating me many times throughout the day.
22 rounds. Time for some pasta. I also brought my own this time. The sun is finally setting, thank God, because it's been very warm in the sun. 5.5 hours in, and we've covered finally a marathon distance. I got a lollipop from a different crew. Really grateful for that. Gonna enjoy it to the fullest. I've done 33 laps, so that means we're over the 50 in just under 6.5 hours. So that's a new PB. It's 9 hours in. I'm about to hit 70 kilometers on my watch, but it will be probably a bit less on the screen. I think my family has arrived and I'm really in due of a break. I've already switched to 1.5 running and a half minute walking, just to kind of get the same result, but offload the running a little bit. I'm getting very tired.
At 1 a.m. my family came to visit, and this is literally the only race I'll ask them to come to because we're all night owls. I'd hate for them to watch me at an actual marathon. And as someone who barely asked for people's help, I think my family enjoyed helping me as a family by being kind of like a pop-up crew. I also thought I would be able to travel with public transport with a big suitcase after the race by myself. You can imagine how that would have gone, so I'm very happy they offered help, even if I refused at first. I was also wondering why my camera stopped working, but turns out I accidentally turned it on and it kept it rolling for too long.
刚刚吃进去不可以跑步，
那我现在就走路一下。
你有觉得现在跑比上次轻松一点吗？70
我
公里
怕应该
来，
等一下，等一下应该那个跑不动了吗？我现在还可以。
Hoe is de oranje shirt dat je hebt niet een Nederlands shirt, maar een Chicago gebakken shirt?
I know. We zijn goed op weg, maar ik ben een beetje bang voor hoe het op allemaal uur 18.
Kom op Anneke, bijna. Blijf gewoon doorgaan, maakt niet uit. Kom maar!
50 mile split, but at what cost? I'll be very honest, I'm bored out of my mind. And the idea of having to repeat the last like 11 hours is haunting me. I'm not in the mood for podcast. It's too early for music. I do have a 2-hour buffer now, but in no way I'm gonna keep this pace. And I'll be very honest, I didn't expect to say this, but I would rather take a nap right now, even though I'm not that tired. And I could honestly just run the rest of the 100 miles, but that's gonna take me forever. And what's the fun of that? I can still run a bit. Might have to adjust my intervals in a little bit. Like I prefer to stay like this until 16 hours. But oh my god, I ran out of fun. But the temptation to just walk the rest of it is growing. I misread the 100k sign. I thought I needed 64 laps, but things weren't making sense. But apparently it's 67 laps, and I don't have it in me to walk or to run. So I think we're making the same repeating mistake of last time. And I'm not even willing to call it a mistake this time, because my Garmin battery is at 1% and I feel like I'm also at 1%.
Welcome back to my trusty old tent. I am tired. I think I'm mostly mentally spent. I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm not sure if I feel comfortable giving up my goal of 100 miles, but I feel like we're heading that way. I think my latest prediction in the app said 168 kilometers, and that's assuming the average pace of the last 14 hours at this point. And I for sure can't run like I did in the first 50 miles. Even 130 kilometers is gonna be such a struggle, because I can tell that I'm just kind of done with this format, kind of done with running the loops, walking the loops. It's like, I hate to say it, but I feel like I thought my willpower was great for today. But I feel like at this point, maybe my willpower at the previous edition was a little bigger even. But you know, that's why I set the sub goals, because 100 miles isn't nothing, and just being able to PR is incredible. And at least I know I can do 50 miles in 11 hours, which was quite surprising, honestly. Not sure if it's me pushing too hard. As I give you a look at my training, it's like no surprise at all that I'm laying in this tent miserable, because it's like my longest training run this year was 25 kilometers, and the last few weeks have been mentally just very challenging because I was like on the edge of what I assumed were shin splints. But obviously today I've been running a lot, so at least I know that I can like proceed training when I'm done recovering from this. So yeah, I don't want to call it quits early. That's not what I'm gonna do, but I'm not having a great time. I'm just gonna sleep and see how I feel after like half hour, maybe an hour. I kind of just want to sleep for the night, honestly. And I know that's allowed in this format, but that's not how I wanted to do it.
Good morning. I stink so bad. I'm so ready to give up. I don't know what to do with my time. It's 8 a.m. so I still have 7 hours left. I feel like I'm gonna pull everything out of me to at least do a PR. But it's gonna be like 1:35 or something. Honestly, I don't even want to go out again, but I feel like I'm just gonna try. My big problem is that I just don't want to eat right now. Maybe too much information. My sports bra has been chafing my shoulder, so looking like a mess there. So I just don't want to get into running clothes. I don't want to wear my running shoes. I don't want to be eating, and I feel like I really need to be eating to last 6 hours, 7 hours. So I'm struggling. I had set an alarm for like half an hour, but I just couldn't bother fighting my body and mind, which were so extremely done with this race. So I guess it ended up being like 3 hours, I think. Next to me was a Polish couple where the husband was running and the wife was crewing. And after I begrudgingly left my tent in running clothes, it was nice to have a chat with the wife about how I wanted to quit, but really shouldn't. I thought it was very kind that she considered waking me up, because they could hear my alarm going off in the tent. So yeah, I filled the sub 4 hour idle time, but oh well, I was really considering quitting. So overall, it was nice to get myself out of that mental trap.
And again, it took me way too long, but finally crossed the 100k mark. Not sure if it's a PR. If it is, it's by a tiny bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't. One day I'll get my 15-hour 100k, but it's not today. And an 18-hour 100k means we're pretty much at the same spot as last time, where I probably have to sneak in to get like 130 kilometers. I'm really not sure if I kind of want to run a PR today. Not sure if I can, but I'm definitely taking it much more easier. On my watch I'm at 123, but I think I'm officially at 119. So a little over 10 kilometers left till my PR. I'm just planning to walk for the next 2 hours because I'm just tired. And at this point, if I break my PR with 1 kilometer, sure, let's do that. I don't have the energy to spend more energy going far beyond that. So I should hit like 129 at the last hour, and then I have the last hour to kind of hopefully run a little more. Well, we're at 23 hours 22 minutes, and from talking to other runners, shufflers, it's pretty much a suffer fast. But it's nice to just talk to other people about their goals and their state of being. This is the penultimate lap that I need to reach my PR. It's gonna be very tight. I need 20 minutes for one lap, so I'm ahead of time a little bit, and I just ran a bit. That will save me a few more minutes, but overall I think I'm pretty much done. I think I'm literally gonna get about 132 kilometers. It's not much, but honest work. It was better than quitting, I guess, but I was a little jealous of those that packed up their bags early. And with 1:31 right before the finish. A little later than expected, but we made it. Go Rick! Lekker bezig!
Dankjewel. Gefeliciteerd alvast.
We zijn er bijna. Look at this parade of runners and shufflers and walkers. And it's lovely to see all the flags. I'm just stopping right at my tent.
Anderhalf minuut.
Well, what more perfect way to end right back at the tent. And that's what I'm gonna do. I think I still had an extra kilometer, so I think I'm at 1:32. There we go. I was miserable, I did not have a good time, but at least we got to see the finish. I'm probably removing 24 hours 100 mile from my wish list because I realized that was not a good goal to have. I'm not gonna have a fun time reaching it. Back to the half marathon and shorter. It's been about 2 weeks since I did the ultra, and you know, it was kind of weird looking back because I wouldn't consider it a disappointment. I didn't train for this, and I used these kinds of events to just really test my endurance and to see where it is. And I think my biggest disappointment in that regards is basically that nothing has much improved. But I feel like that's only part of the story if you look at my final distance and, like I said, my idle time and my 100K split. Because overall, I think I'm, for some reason, very proud of like the 11-hour 50-mile split. I feel like that teaches me a lot. They didn't have the 50-mile split the previous time I participated, but I think there was quite a big improvement there. And on one hand, it was very motivational because knowing I can do 50 miles under 12 hours means the 100 miles isn't that far off, but at the same time, I do think about if I took a bit more time doing the 50 miles, would that mean I would have more energy for the second half of the race? So these are kind of the thoughts that are going in my head, wanting to go for 100 miles. But like I said at the end of my vlog, I think throughout the race I just realized why do I want to reach 100 miles in 24 hours and not something that I can just do because I felt like it. So a quick note about the event before I head on to my ramble about me. The event was really great. It's so nice, you know, it's so facilitated, and that's really what I want out of these kinds of events. They moved the flushable toilets closer to the track. I haven't seen the inside of a porta potty in those 24 hours. It's obviously much busier, but I had a pretty good time. But I understand the new routes. It's really nice to have like that team zone. I felt a little intimidated running past by it, but at the same time, everyone's doing their own thing. Everyone's minding their own business.
The overall atmosphere was just great. So I kind of made sure to sign up on time to get my name on the bib and to get this thing again. But unfortunately, these things didn't arrive on time for the race. And I did get an email this weekend or last week that we do have to pay for shipping, and shipping is €5, and that's not that much, but it's still €5. Again, I spoke to quite a few people who had seen my previous video, and some of them also asked if I was making a video again this year. So hopefully you're back, you're here. I think it's a lovely event. It's a very tight event because it's such a small loop with a lot of people, but I really enjoyed just like the atmosphere this time. I just love having my tent up there. I was pretty much in the exact same spot, even though I was much earlier this time. It's nice to go again to repeating events because I know what to expect. I know what they have. Obviously, I've played around with the ideas of checking out other 24-hour events, but it does have a special place in my heart, to be very cliche about it. So to zoom back on my recovery, so the first week I just took a 0-kilometer week. It's my first 0-kilometer week of this year. I really had to tell myself to do it because I actually wanted to go out for a run in the same week. I think Thursday, like obviously on Monday and Tuesday I was pretty much struggling to sit down and stand up, but I feel like on Thursday I was already kind of itching to run. So in the second week I wanted to run, but I was very busy with parkrun preparations for Whit Monday, and I went back to work, and I work quite a physical job, so I wanted to make sure that my legs were ready for that because that was quite an impact on my legs as well. In the third week I've been able to do some smaller runs. Last Saturday I went out for a parkrun to film a part of my new video, so I've also been able to kind of put back some speed in my running. So I'm a bit sore again from just working, but I can tell that a lot of my pains go away with running, so I hope that's nothing serious. But I'm very excited to go out running again. And I think that's like kind of this weird shift in my mental state when it comes to running, because I feel like my general mental resilience has become quite weaker. I think for the first time I did this race, there were no expectations. I just wanted to see how far I could get. And this time, obviously, I was setting pretty big goals. And obviously, I had the 130K from the previous time that I had to kind of chase. And while I'm doing better mental health wise, I feel like it's all kind of duct taped together. So I think my overall willpower was kind of a little weaker during this race. But on the other hand, I can really tell that I love running. I kind of wanted to go fast during the race. And the last time I did this race, I stopped running for months. Partly because I was just burned out on running, and part because the Eras Tour started, and that became my whole personality for the next 2 years. And that was just kind of like a running hiatus. But this time, on Thursday, I kind of wanted to already go out for a run. While I was just kind of hating everything on the Sunday morning, I think on Monday or Tuesday, I was already exploring ways I could improve and what my next step should be to still get that 100-mile someday. So what's next? I am going to half marathons and shorter. Like I said, I already filmed a little part of my next video, which hopefully will appear in 8 weeks. But I kind of learned my lesson and really want to focus on shorter distances before kind of rebuild my endurance for the longer distances. I do already am thinking of like a marathon lineup for spring 2027. One in March, one in April, one in May. But it really depends if I get in all of them and if they actually happen and if I don't injure myself before that. Ultra wise, I really want my next ultra to be 100 kilometers. I think that's kind of my most disappointing part of the result, because you know, I still did a PR. I was on track for the 100 kilometers in 15 hours. before I kind of had like a mental crash out. But I feel like if 100k was the finish line, obviously I would have struggled through that last 3 or 5 kilometers. But because it was a 24-hour thing, I just gave up. I am playing around with the fact of going to Sittard again in 2028, but that's just being very optimistic, and I feel like I do quite like this 3-year pace. But it would be it would be kind of fun to do it one more time before I turn 30, which is such a arbitrary number, but I'm very aware of my mortality. I think I've said everything I wanted to say, but I will probably have forgotten something. But I also don't want to make this video too long. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like and subscribe, but you don't have to, because my uploads are all over the place. I don't only post running content. Check up on me sometimes. I try to do cool stuff, but I'm just very bad at uploading. Bye.